Imagine scrolling through your social media feed and seeing this headline: China creates robot that can give birth to human babies for just $14,000. Your first thought might be amazement, maybe concern about the future of humanity, or perhaps excitement about technological breakthroughs. But what if I told you this entire story was completely fabricated? Welcome to Curiosity AI Podcast, Episode 13, where we dive deep into the fascinating intersection of technology, science, and human curiosity. I'm your host, and today we're investigating one of the most viral tech hoaxes of 2025. Over the past few weeks, the internet has been buzzing with reports about a Chinese company called Kaiwa Technology that allegedly developed a humanoid robot capable of carrying human pregnancies to full term. The story seemed incredible, with claims of a $14,000 price tag and a 2026 launch date. Major news outlets picked it up, millions shared it on social media, and suddenly everyone was debating the future of human reproduction. But when we started digging into the facts, we uncovered something far more interesting than any robot baby. We discovered a masterclass in how misinformation spreads through our digital ecosystem, and why even the most sophisticated media outlets can fall for well-crafted fake news. Today, we'll walk through our investigation step by step, reveal what we found, and explore what this teaches us about navigating information in the digital age. Let me start by explaining what the viral story claimed. According to reports in the New York Post, Times of India, and Economic Times, a company called Kaiwa Technology, supposedly led by Dr. Zhang Qifeng from Nanyang Technological University in Singapore, had made an extraordinary announcement at the World Robot Conference in Beijing. The alleged breakthrough was a humanoid robot equipped with an artificial womb that could sustain a complete human pregnancy. The robot would use a tube-based nutrition system in the abdominal area to nourish and grow a human fetus from conception to birth. The reported price was approximately 100,000 Chinese yuan, roughly $14,000 US dollars, making it significantly cheaper than traditional surrogacy, which can cost between $100,000 to $200,000 in the United States. Now, on the surface, this might not seem completely impossible. After all, we live in an age of incredible technological advancement. We have artificial hearts, robotic surgeries, and sophisticated life support systems. The idea of an artificial womb doesn't immediately scream science fiction to most people. And that's exactly what made this hoax so effective. But here's where things get interesting. When you understand the current state of artificial womb technology, red flags start appearing everywhere. The most advanced research in this field involves something called the biobag, developed by researchers at Children's Hospital of Philadelphia. In 2017, they successfully maintained premature lamb fetuses for up to 4 weeks in a fluid-filled artificial environment. This was groundbreaking research, but notice the limitations. Lamb fetuses, not human, for 4 weeks, not 9 months, and supporting already developed fetuses, not handling conception through birth. This is where our investigation really began to unravel the story. We started by doing what any good fact-checker should do: verify the basic claims, and immediately we hit roadblocks. First, we contacted Nanyang Technological University directly. Their response was categorical. They have no Dr. Zhang Qifeng working on pregnancy robot projects. None. The university officially denied any institutional connection to this research. When Snopes, the renowned fact-checking platform, investigated further, they confirmed this denial and classified the entire claim as false or unconfirmed. Next, we looked into the World Robot Conference 2025, which did indeed take place in Beijing from August 8th to 12th. But here's the problem. There's no official listing, no public mention, no exhibitor record of Kaiwa Technology announcing or demonstrating any pregnancy robot at this event. The conference website, official programs, and media coverage contain zero references to such a groundbreaking announcement. Then we dug into the company itself. Guangzhou Kaiwa Robot Technology Codified Limited, does exist in Chinese corporate registries, but the legal representative listed is someone named Yue Dengfeng, not Zhang Qifeng. Corporate records show no connection to the alleged project leader mentioned in all the viral articles. Perhaps most tellingly, despite claims of being near commercialization with a 2026 launch date, there are no patent filings, no technical demonstrations, no laboratory videos, no detailed specifications, and no official company announcements about this revolutionary technology. This hoax reveals something fascinating about our current geopolitical moment and how technology narratives spread. There's an underlying expectation in international media that China will produce the next major technological breakthrough. This expectation creates fertile ground for unverified claims to gain traction. We're living through an era of intense technological competition between global superpowers. Stories about Chinese innovations often get amplified quickly, especially if they suggest a dramatic leap forward that might give China a competitive advantage. The pregnancy robot story hit all the right psychological buttons. It was revolutionary, it addressed a real human need, and it positioned China as the source of breakthrough innovation. But this case study also shows how our media ecosystem can amplify false information through what I call the echo chamber multiplication effect. One outlet publishes an unverified claim, other outlets cite that first report, and suddenly you have what appears to be multiple independent confirmations of the same story. In reality, it's just one unverified claim being passed around like a game of telephone. The economic implications of this misinformation are also worth considering. Think about the potential impact on legitimate companies working on reproductive technology, on investors trying to understand market opportunities, or on couples struggling with fertility who might have gotten false hope from these reports. So what does this mean for you as someone trying to navigate information in our digital world? This case study offers several practical lessons for spotting technological misinformation. First, always verify institutional affiliations. When a story claims a researcher from a prestigious university made a breakthrough, spend 30 seconds checking the university's faculty directory. Most universities proudly publicize their researchers' major achievements, so absence of information can be telling. Second, look for primary sources and technical documentation. Legitimate scientific breakthroughs come with research papers, patent filings, technical specifications, or at minimum, detailed explanations of how the technology works. If all you find are media reports without underlying documentation, that's a red flag. Third, consider the timeline claims. Revolutionary technologies, especially in highly regulated fields like medicine, typically take decades to move from laboratory to market. Claims of immediate commercialization should trigger skepticism. Fourth, understand the current state of the relevant science. You don't need a PhD to have a basic understanding of what's currently possible and what remains in the realm of science fiction. The pregnancy robot story became plausible to many people because they didn't realize how limited current artificial womb technology actually is. Finally, pay attention to the source chain. If multiple outlets are reporting the same story, but they're all citing each other rather than independent primary sources, you might be looking at circular reporting rather than confirmed facts. Let me be clear. Legitimate research into artificial womb technology is real, important, and fascinating. The goal isn't to replace human pregnancy entirely, but to help extremely premature babies survive and develop normally. Currently, babies born before 22 to 24 weeks of gestation have very low survival rates and often face serious developmental challenges. An artificial womb system could potentially bridge that gap, giving these babies an environment more similar to the natural womb during those critical early weeks. Researchers at multiple institutions are working on different aspects of this challenge. Some focus on the mechanical systems that would circulate blood and deliver nutrients. Others work on the biological interfaces that would connect the artificial system to the developing fetus. Still others tackle the complex monitoring and control systems needed to maintain proper conditions. But even the most optimistic projections from legitimate researchers suggest we're still years, possibly decades, away from human applications. The technology faces enormous scientific challenges, regulatory hurdles, and ethical considerations that will take time to resolve. The real future of reproductive technology will likely involve incremental improvements to existing methods rather than revolutionary replacements. Better fertility treatments, improved outcomes for premature births, enhanced prenatal care, and more personalized medical approaches based on genetic and environmental factors. The China pregnancy robot hoax teaches us something crucial about our information age. The most dangerous misinformation isn't obviously false conspiracy theories, but sophisticated fake news that borrows credibility from real institutions and exploits our gaps in technical knowledge. This story succeeded because it hit the sweet spot of seeming just plausible enough to be believable, while being extraordinary enough to go viral. It exploited our expectations about technological progress, our incomplete understanding of current scientific capabilities, and our tendency to share information without thoroughly verifying it. But here's the positive takeaway. Once you know what to look for, this type of misinformation becomes much easier to spot. The techniques used in the pregnancy robot hoax, from fake institutional affiliations to circular media reporting, appear in many other forms of technological misinformation. As consumers of information, we have both the power and the responsibility to be more discerning. We can choose to spend those extra 30 seconds verifying claims before sharing them. We can choose to seek out primary sources rather than accepting secondary reports. And we can choose to understand the basics of emerging technologies, so we're less susceptible to exploitation of our ignorance. The real world of scientific research is incredibly fascinating without needing fictional embellishments. When we demand better evidence and more rigorous reporting, we don't just protect ourselves from misinformation, we create space for genuine scientific achievements to get the attention they deserve. Thank you for joining me on this investigation. If this episode helped you think differently about evaluating information, please subscribe to Curiosity AI Podcast and share it with someone who might benefit from these critical thinking tools. What viral technology story made you do a double take recently? I'd love to hear about it in the comments or on our social media channels. Until next time, stay curious, but stay critical.